cold, miserable afternoon at Anfield. Liverpool's players trudged off the pitch, heads down, beaten 1-0 by Cardiff City. The final whistle didn't just signal defeat, it sealed their fate: relegation. The mighty Reds, once a force in English football, had sunk to the second division. But then, in 1959, a man walked through Anfield's gates with an unshakable belief and a vision to change everything. What followed wasn't just a revival, it was a revolution. A forgotten club, reborn into a powerhouse. A city, reignited by belief. And at the centre of it all, one man.
Well, if I had a job to do, even if it was scrubbing the floor, I wanted my floor to be cleaner than yours.
To understand the fire that burned inside Shankly, you have to go back to where it all began. Glenbuck, Scotland. A small mining village where football wasn't just a pastime, it was a way out. The village produced an astonishing number of professional footballers, but none like Shankly. Born in 1913, he was raised in a working-class environment where resilience was everything. His father's generation spent their lives underground in the coal mines, and young Bill quickly decided that football was his escape. He played with a relentless hunger, eventually making his name at Preston North End, where he won the FA Cup in 1938. But it was in management where Shankly's true genius was unlocked. Stints at Carlisle, Grimsby, Workington and Huddersfield Town refined his philosophy. He wasn't just a tactician, he was a motivator, a leader, a man who could make his players believe they were invincible. And then, in December 1959, Liverpool called. Liverpool, a club that once rubbed shoulders with England's elite, was rotting in the second division. Anfield was a crumbling relic. Training facilities were in shambles. The team? A collection of journeymen and has-beens playing in front of dwindling crowds. But where others saw failure, Shankly saw possibility. He walked through Anfield's gates and knew he was home. "I was made for Liverpool," he later said, and that was no exaggeration.
Natural enthusiasm, that's the whole thing. It's the greatest thing in the world, natural enthusiasm.
His first order of business, ruthless change. He identified 24 players he deemed not good enough and showed them the door. He then assembled his army, not just on the pitch, but off it. Great managers don't just build teams, they build legacies. And Shankly's greatest masterstroke was the creation of the legendary boot room. This wasn't some grand boardroom with state-of-the-art technology. It was a tiny, cluttered room at Anfield where Shankly and his closest allies, Bob Paisley, Joe Fagan and Reuben Bennett, gathered. Tactics were devised, opponents were dissected, and most importantly, a culture was established. The boot room became Liverpool's nerve centre. Shankly wasn't just thinking about the present, he was laying the groundwork for a dynasty that would outlive him. And it did. Shankly wasn't just a visionary, he had an eye for talent. His first major signing, Ron Yeats, was a colossus in defence. "Take a walk around my centre half," Shankly famously told journalists. And then there was Ian St. John, the fiery forward who became the heart of Liverpool's attack. With these signings, Liverpool's style transformed. Shankly favoured a high-intensity, high-pressing game, a precursor to what we see in modern football. He believed in keeping things simple. "Football is a simple game," he said, "made complicated by those who should know better." And the results? Spectacular. Promotion to the First Division in 1962. League champions in 1964. FA Cup winners in 1965. The club's first ever FA Cup triumph, sparking wild celebrations in the city. But Shankly wasn't done. Despite early success, Shankly wasn't one for nostalgia. By the late 60s, he dismantled his first great team and built another. This time, his recruits included a certain Kevin Keegan, a young, dynamic forward who would go on to define an era. But the road wasn't always smooth. Between 1966 and 1973, Liverpool endured a barren run without a league title. Pressure mounted. Critics whispered that Shankly's time was up, but the man never wavered. Then came the redemption arc, the 1972-73 season. Liverpool reclaimed the First Division crown and, crucially, won their first ever European trophy, the UEFA Cup. The club had conquered England. Now, it was ready to take on the continent. 1974. Liverpool had just lifted the FA Cup after demolishing Newcastle United at Wembley. Shankly stood on the pitch, soaking in the adulation. The fans adored him. The players revered him. Liverpool was at the peak of its powers.
It is with great regret that I, as chairman of Liverpool Football Club, have to inform you that Mr. Shankly has intimated that he wishes to retire from active participation in league football.
The football world was stunned. Liverpool wasn't just losing a manager, it was losing its heart and soul. And yet, Shankly believed he had done his job. He had built the foundation. It was time for others, Paisley, Fagan, Dalglish, to carry it forward. Did he regret it? Perhaps. In later years, he often found himself lingering around Melwood, struggling to detach himself from the club he loved. But the groundwork he laid, it never crumbled. Liverpool today is the club that Shankly built. The values he instilled, relentless work ethic, attacking football, and a deep connection with the fans, are woven into the club's DNA. Jurgen Klopp, a man often compared to Shankly, once said, "I want my team to play like the fans would if they had the chance." That's the essence of Shankly's philosophy. Football wasn't just about winning, it was about making the people happy. His statue stands outside Anfield, arms outstretched, with the words, "He made the people happy." And isn't that the greatest legacy of all? Bill Shankly didn't just rebuild Liverpool, he made it immortal. Thank you for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.